July 1998. The peaceful city of Wakayama, Japan. People were celebrating a local festival, children were laughing, and everyone was enjoying themselves together. No one could have ever imagined that the next few hours would plunge this city into an endless nightmare. Right after eating, people suddenly begin collapsing to the ground. Screams and panic break out everywhere. More than 60 people are rushed to the hospital, and 4 innocent people lose their lives. The reason? A terrifying poison mixed into their food. But soon, the needle of suspicion points directly at this woman, Masumi Hayashi, a woman who allegedly threw an entire city into the depths of death just to take revenge on her neighbors. But was she really the killer, or was this one of the most controversial cases in Japan's history? Let's find out. To understand how this nightmare began, we have to look closely at the neighborhood of Sonobe in Wakayama City. Masumi Hayashi was not a stranger here. She was a local resident, a mother, and a former insurance agent. But beneath the surface of this seemingly ordinary community, a deep and bitter tension was brewing between Masumi and her neighbors. The people living around her claimed that she was difficult to get along with, often leading to arguments and social isolation. This growing resentment created a toxic atmosphere, setting the stage for one of the most shocking acts of vengeance in modern history. On July 25, 1998, the community gathered for their annual summer festival. It was a day of celebration, unity, and shared food. The main attraction of the feast was a massive pot of traditional Japanese curry, prepared collectively by the local housewives. Because it was a community event, the cooking area was left unattended at various times throughout the day. Investigators believe this was the exact window of opportunity the killer was waiting for. According to the prosecution, Masumi Hayashi used this moment of distraction to slip unnoticed into the communal kitchen, carrying a lethal dose of arsenic. With complete disregard for human life, she mixed the deadly poison directly into the boiling pot of curry. As evening fell, the festival reached its peak, and the curry was served to the unsuspecting crowd. Within moments of eating, the atmosphere of joy completely shattered. People began clutching their stomachs, vomiting violently, and collapsing onto the ground in sheer agony. Chaos erupted as ambulances rushed to the scene. Over 60 residents were hospitalized with severe poisoning. Tragically, for innocent people, including a 10-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl, did not survive the night. The entire nation of Japan was left in absolute shock, demanding to know who could commit such a monstrous crime against their own community. Following the tragedy, the police launched a massive investigation, and it didn't take long for the spotlight to fall entirely on Masumi Hayashi. The evidence against her, however, was purely circumstantial, which is why this case remains so fiercely debated. Investigators discovered that Masumi had access to arsenic because her husband worked in pest control, a job that required handling deadly chemicals. When forensic teams searched her home, they allegedly found traces of the exact same type of arsenic used in the curry. Furthermore, police revealed a highly suspicious financial history. Masumi and her husband had previously received massive insurance payouts for various accidents and illnesses, raising immediate red flags that she was someone willing to use poison for financial gain. However, the most critical piece of evidence came from eyewitness accounts. Several neighbors claimed they saw Masumi standing alone near the curry pots during the festival, during the exact time frame when the kitchen was left unattended. The prosecution argued that her motive was pure, boiling rage. She had been marginalized and ignored by the neighborhood housewives, and this was her ultimate, twisted way of silencing them forever. In December 1998, Masumi Hayashi was officially arrested and charged with murder and attempted murder. The media frenzy was unprecedented, painting her as a cold-blooded monster before she even stepped foot inside a courtroom. Despite the heavy accusations, Masumi maintained her absolute innocence from day one. Throughout her entire trial, she refused to confess, choosing to remain completely silent. Her defense team argued fiercely that there was zero direct evidence linking her to the crime. No one actually saw her open the pot or pour the poison inside. They argued that the arsenic found in her home could have belonged to anyone in the area, as it was widely used at the time. Yet, despite the lack of confession or direct proof, the district court found her guilty, and in 2002, Masumi Hayashi was sentenced to As the death sentence was announced, Japan's legal system faced intense scrutiny, and the case shifted into a long, exhausting battle of appeals. Masumi Hayashi's defense team took the case all the way to the Supreme Court of Japan, arguing that a person should not be sent to the gallows based entirely on circumstantial evidence and neighborhood gossip. They pointed out flaws in the forensic testing of the arsenic, claiming the science used to connect the poison in her home to the poison in the curry was deeply flawed and unreliable. They also emphasized that without a confession or a single direct witness, the state was making a catastrophic mistake. However, in 2009, the Supreme Court rejected her final appeal, officially finalizing her death sentence. The court ruled that the combination of circumstantial evidence, her presence near the pots, her access to arsenic, and her history of insurance fraud, was too overwhelming to ignore. But the story did not end there. Even today, locked away on death row, Masumi Hayashi continues to claim she is innocent. In recent years, her legal team has repeatedly filed for a retrial, presenting new scientific analysis of the arsenic, which they claim proves the poison in the curry did not match the chemical makeup of the substance found in her home. This endless mystery has deeply divided the public. Some believe she is a calculated, cold-blooded killer who got exactly what she deserved for destroying innocent families. Others view her as a tragic scapegoat, a victim of a rushed police investigation and a media trial that demanded a quick arrest to calm a panicked nation. If Masumi Hayashi is executed, Japan might hang an innocent woman. If she is released, a mass murderer walks free. The Wakayama curry poisoning remains a dark, bleeding scar on Japan's history, a chilling reminder of how a sunny summer afternoon could instantly turn into a lifetime of unanswered questions and inescapable horror. With the trial finalized, the devastating aftermath of the tragedy continued to ripple through the lives of everyone involved, most notably Masumi Hayashi's own family. Her children faced intense public hostility and were forced to live under a shadow of shame and isolation, constantly bullied and rejected by society due to their mother's notorious reputation. Tragically, the weight of the stigma proved too heavy to bear. In a heartbreaking turn of events years later, Masumi's eldest daughter took her own life, along with her own young child, citing the inescapable curse of the Hayashi name. This secondary tragedy added yet another layer of grim sorrow to an already dark saga, proving that the poison from that July afternoon was still claiming victims decades later. Meanwhile, true crime analysts and legal experts worldwide continue to dissect the Wakayama case as a textbook example of a potential miscarriage of justice. Many point out the troubling similarities between this case and other famous wrongful conviction cases in Japan, where public pressure forced the police to secure a conviction at any cost. Skeptics argue that because the community was small and highly protective of its own, it was far easier to blame an eccentric, disliked outsider like Masumi rather than investigate the possibility that the true killer might still be living quietly among them. Without definitive DNA or fingerprint evidence on the curry pot itself, the truth remains locked away in the minds of those who were there. Today, Masumi Hayashi remains in a high-security detention center, waiting for an execution date that could come at any moment without prior warning, as is custom in Japan's legal system. Her remaining lawyers refuse to give up, tirelessly submitting petitions for a retrial based on modern forensic science that challenges the 1998 chemical analysis. Whether she is a ruthless monster who poisoned her neighbors in a fit of rage, or an innocent mother caught in a web of. The debate over Masumi Hayashi's guilt has also highlighted deep systemic issues within the Japanese judicial process, particularly its heavy reliance on circumstantial evidence when a confession is absent. In Japan, over 99% of criminal trials end in a conviction, a statistic that critics argue creates an environment where investigators prioritize closing cases over finding absolute truth. Legal scholars note that because public panic was at an all-time high in 1998, the pressure on the Wakayama Police Department to identify a suspect was immense. This pressure, skeptics believe, caused a dangerous tunnel vision, leading investigators to ignore alternative leads or other individuals who had equal access to the communal kitchen that afternoon. Furthermore, the psychological toll on the surviving victims and the families of the deceased remains an unhealed wound. For the people of Sonobe, The annual summer festival was meant to be a symbol of unity and neighborhood trust, but it permanently shattered their sense of safety. Every year when July arrives, the community is forced to relive the horror of losing their children and neighbors to a faceless threat. For them, the legal delays and ongoing appeals for a retrial only prolong their agony, making true closure impossible. They remain convinced that justice was served in 2002, viewing Masumi's continued survival on death row not as a quest for truth, but as a painful evasion of her ultimate punishment. As the years turn into decades, the Wakayama curry poisoning case transitions from a standard criminal investigation into an enduring urban legend and a haunting cautionary tale. It forces society to confront an uncomfortable question: how much proof is truly enough to take a human life? With no modern physical evidence remaining and the original crime scene long gone, the absolute truth may never surface. Masumi Hayashi continues her silent vigil in her cell, writing letters and waiting for a breakthrough. As the final chapters of this haunting saga are written, the Wakayama curry poisoning case stands as a stark monument to human tragedy and legal ambiguity. The passage of time has done nothing to soften the blow for the families who lost their loved ones, nor has it silenced the fierce debates surrounding Masumi Hayashi's ultimate fate. This case serves as a powerful reminder of how a single afternoon can unravel the fabric of an entire community, leaving behind a legacy of paranoia, grief, and unresolved questions that will likely haunt Japan for generations to come. It challenges our understanding of justice, forcing us to weigh the desperate need for closure against the absolute certainty required to carry out a death sentence. For content creators, true crime enthusiasts, and legal historians, the mystery of Sonobe remains a dark puzzle with pieces that simply do not fit perfectly together. Whether the upcoming years bring a sudden execution or an unprecedented retrial, the story has already left an indelible mark on global criminal history. It stands alongside the world's most frustrating enigmas, a chilling narrative where every answer breeds a dozen new questions, and where the absolute truth remains frustratingly out of reach, locked away in the past. The echoes of that fateful July festival continue to ring out, warning us of the fragile nature of safety and the terrifying speed with which normal life can transform into a living nightmare. Thank you for walking through this dark and complex journey with us as we uncovered one of Japan's most controversial modern mysteries. What do you believe really happened on that summer afternoon in Wakayama? Was justice truly served, or does the real killer still walk free? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this deep dive gripping, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with fellow true crime fans, and subscribe to the channel for more deep investigations into the world's most chilling, unexplained cases. Until next time, stay vigilant, question everything, and goodbye. Most chilling, unexplained cases. Until next time, stay vigilant, question everything, and goodbye. Most chilling, unexplained cases. Until next time, stay vigilant, question everything, and goodbye.